What's up, racing fans, and welcome to my NASCAR race review on Tim Reynolds Show as I'm reviewing the NASCAR Cup Series race road course from Watkins, Glen. And man, let's get right to it, guys, as we're going to get right to the chaotic and epic finish of this race. As we see on the last restart, the number 17 Ford, driven by Chris Buescher, actually had the lead in this one, and we would see right behind him was the number 16 Chevy, driven by Shane Van Gisbergen. And Gisbergen has been tearing up these road courses as of late, as he was the winner of the Chicagoland street race just last year, and he would come in really giving Chris Buescher all he could handle at the end of this race, as the number 16 car had really been dominating a lot of this race at Watkins Glen and buying his time till this last restart to really make his move, which he would, as Shane Van Gisbergen would take the lead in the final 2 laps on the final restart of this match. And man, it would look like that Shane Van Gisbergen was going to win this race, or it was his race to lose, which we would find out after the number 16 really pushed it too hard and hit it into a corner as his car bounced off and lost control just a little bit of a wiggle for the number 17 Ford. Chris Buescher would get past the number 16 as he would retake the lead on the last lap of the race, and he would go on to win at Watkins Glen as the number 17 Ford, driven for RFK Racing, gets the victory in this one, as the number 17 driver Chris Buescher gets to make up for the fact that he wasn't able to make the playoffs this year, as he gets a big win for his RFK Racing team. Tough break for the number 16 Chevy there for Shane Van Gisbergen, as he was dominating this race. Really looked like it was his race to lose at the end after getting the lead, but he gives up the race lead there with a little bit of a mistake near the end of the race. Way to go, the number 17 team, on getting the victory in this one. So let's move on, guys, to how this affects the NASCAR playoffs, as this was the second race in the first round of the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. And we see a big crash happen earlier where the number 24 Chevy, driven by William Byron, got into the number 6 Ford, driven by Brad Keselowski, which both of these guys are in the playoffs, but the number 24 actually got his tire stuck up like right on top of the number 6 car, right near the driver's side, right behind the driver's side window there. It's very chaotic and very weird how it ended up happening. A nasty crash near the end of the race there. You make sure to check that out on NASCAR.com and all the social media platforms on that big wreck and caution there that happened between those two drivers. It was crazy, but also kind of cool to watch when you seen it happen. And then we also see Ryan Blaney, the defending Series Cup champion, have such bad luck in this one, as he was not able to finish this race, as he got knocked out early in this particular matchup. And also, he's also messing around and actually, upset with NASCAR and the way they handled his sort of taking his car out of the race and off the racetrack with what happened. So you'll have to see what happened with that on the socials there for NASCAR. And then we also see some very, very bad luck for some other playoff drivers, such as the number 21 Ford, driven by Harrison Burton, who got in a big wreck near the end of this race too, that cost him a lot of spots. We also see Danny Hamlin get into a couple of cautions throughout this racetrack and really get knocked out and beat up for a late finish in this one as well. But also the number 19 Camry, driven by Martin Truex Jr., who's retiring at the end of the year, looked like early on he was going to be able to win this race after winning stage 1, but he was not able to hold on near the top 5 or the top 10 really after getting into a big wreck near the end of this race and really actually confronting a lot of people, saying, I quote, "I just don't understand how these guys can call themselves some of the best drivers in the world when you see them just driving through everybody on the restarts." And it is what it is. And you know what? It's really sad to see this guy retiring at the end of the year and having to go through this, as that was just a tough break there for that number 19 Toyota team for Joe Gibbs Racing. And then also another tough break for Joe Gibbs' number 11 Toyota, driven by Danny Hamlin, who gets into another couple of cautions in this particular race, and that just puts him way down below the cut line in this one. But let's talk about some drivers who had some really, really good days in this one. Chase Briscoe of the number 14 Ford for Stewart Haas Racing did very, very well in this one, as he moves up in the standings after a very, very good finish in this one. Also, Austin Cindric, the number 2 Ford, driven for Penske Racing, had a very, very good day in this one to help him go further up in the standings as well. And then let's not forget about Joey Logano, who did pretty good in this race, but he's already at the top of the standings right now in the playoffs because of his victory last week there. Kyle Larson, not really such a good day for him, as he was struggling kind of throughout the whole day for him to get ahead and get up near the top as far as that's concerned for him. We also see Ty Gibbs was very, very close as well, but really wasn't able to cut it there near the end here for what happened with them. So looking at the standings right now, guys, like we said, we got Joey Logano right now now at the top with his victory in this one. And then right below him is Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric, and Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez, just to round up the top 5 there in that one. But as far as looking at here, the finishes for the standings in this particular race here, we're just looking at the top 5 because in this top 5 at the end of this race, we weren't actually able to see any of the playoff drivers finish inside the top 5 of this one. So this was pretty tough for everyone involved as far as I'm trying to get the top 5 here for what happened in this particular race. But yeah, really tough. We see also Juan Pablo Montoya returned for the first time in NASCAR series to be able to come back, I should say, and compete in this road course race. Juan Pablo Montoya is known for being a very, very good road racer in this particular matchup. So that's nice to see what happened there. So go, guys. Finally got it here. Your top 5 overall in this matchup. Like I said, Chris Buescher wins, number 17 car. Right behind him is Shane Van Gisbergen in the number 16 Chevrolet. Carson Hocevar gets a very, very good finish in this one. The number 77 Chevrolet finishes 3rd. Ross Chastain, who started out on the pole in this one, finishes 4th in this one. And then Zane Smith, number 71 Chevrolet, gets his first top 5 finish, I think, in the NASCAR Cup Series with this particular good finish there for that team. But then we go on to the top 10. Chase Briscoe is the first playoff driver right there, finishing inside the top 10 at 6th place. He finishes best out of all the playoff drivers, which is crazy to think about. Mike McDowell in the number 34 Ford finishes 7th. Corey LaJoie in the number 7 Chevy finishes 8th. Ryan Preece and the number 41 Ford for Stewart Haas Racing finishes 9th. And then number 10, Austin Cindric, will be the last driver there in the top 10, as he's also a playoff cup driver there. So he gets some points there, finishing inside the top 10 to move on towards next week, which will be Bristol Motor Speedway at night under the lights in the last race of the first round of the round of 16 for the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Wow, the 2024 NASCAR playoffs are heating up, man. What a crazy race here at Watkins, Glen, for these boys in the NASCAR Cup Series, as things are just heating up, and it was so chaotic with so many cautions at Watkins, Glen, like you normally see for a road course. But at Bristol, whoo, bumping is racing, baby, and anything can happen at that racetrack. And I know Danny Hamlin and the number 11 Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing is going to be looking to get the win in this one, and he's now below the cut line. And also his teammate, the number 19 Toyota, driven by Martin Truex Jr., in his last full-time year of NASCAR Cup Series racing, is also a guy to watch out for at Bristol, as both of these guys are really dangerous at this racetrack. But hey, there's also a couple other drivers to watch out for, but those are the two inside the playoff standings, fighting for their playoff life, their championships lives in this particular matchup, in this particular race week. Man, this weekend's very important to both of these teams, and best of luck to Danny Hamlin and his team too, who are probably going to need a victory in order for them to move on to the next round of the playoffs. But it's anyone's race. I can't wait to see what happens, because at Bristol Motor Speedway, inside the stadium of racing, the stadium of NASCAR, the thunder is coming inside Bristol Motor Speedway. I can't wait to check it out. This has been your NASCAR race review from Tim Reynolds Show. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for checking out Tim Reynolds Show with all of my sports content, football content, NASCAR content, and just sports entertainment you can only get right here on Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you guys so much. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your day. And hey, NASCAR playoffs are just starting up. The last race of the first round is this weekend. Let's go. Woohoo!